Hello, this is Mr. Belay, and I'm here to go over the social studies project of a comic book showing the 9 steps leading up to the American Revolution. Let's get into it. For one, let's go into an introduction to comic books. I'm a huge comic book fan. I've been collecting comic books since I was a kid, and I just feel like they're a wonderful way to go through a story. And it's great, of course, to read books that are all text and imagine the scenes. But I feel like there's a beauty to having an artist illustrate a story where you can see all the pictures, you can see all the action taking place, and our country's history is full of stories and action. So I think doing this project as a comic book is really going to help show this piece of history here. You're going to be doing events from the 9 steps leading up to the American Revolution. Just to talk more about comic books, I'm a big Spider Man fan, so I want to teach you about comic books through looking at Spider Man. For one, reading panel layouts. This is important because it really lays out the story just like a book would, where you would read from top to bottom, you'd read from left to right. Uh, Comic books work the same way. And so, like looking at this panel, we have Peter Parker here. He's being attacked by the Vulture, pulled out of the hospital. Vulture seeing him without his mask on, and he drops him. And I love that this mixture too of like a close up of their faces, super close up of Vulture's face, but then a far away shot, so you get that sense of like, whoa, he's up in the air and he is falling, coming down there. Let's look at another one here, more of a classic layout, but I like the mix. We have a large rectangle on top, Spider Man's running away. Then we have like 5 relatively similar sized panels here, the court left to right, top to bottom, and the last two are a little smaller there. Looking at this one, this is actually Spider Man's first battle with Venom. Like the mixture of here, we can see both characters, but then we're doing close ups. Just Spider Man, just Venom. Now we can see both characters again. Venom with the suit pulled away. Great panel layout there. This is one of the most famous scenes in Spider-Man history. The death of his first love, Gwen Stacy. Very sad, very tragic. Looking at the panel layout, love this super long box here, so you get a sense of how high up they are in the Brooklyn Bridge. Um, Unfortunately, it was a Green Goblin knocks Gwen Stacy off. Spider-Man tries to save her, but it's too late. And so you can read the action here through this panel layout, both from like far away and close up. Now you're going to be getting a variety of blank panel layouts, so you don't have to draw your own boxes. Even some of these, you don't even have to draw your own speech bubbles or thought bubbles. It's laid out for you. You pick the one that works best for you telling your story there. Speech bubbles. This is an important way for information to come across. The letter artist has to write in these speech bubbles. Here, another battle of Spider-Man versus Venom. You can see sometimes Spider-Man's thinking. Here he's gasping, and Venom's talking. I really love like this little panel here. Simple thing, but the words are so big they're like breaking out of the speech bubble there. Looking at another Venom versus Spider-Man, I like how these speech bubbles for Venom, it's just the suit talking black with white text, where usually it's white speech bubbles with black text. I think that little reversal there just adds to like the scariness of the whole scene. Um, this one, Spider-Man's battling Mysterio, and there's a lot of dialogue happening. So I love this mix of just speech bubble text. Here's Spider-Man's thinking, so you can see his speech bubbles more like in a cloud. And this panel layout, not even any boxes. We're just going from left to right, top to bottom. And I think it's meant to like disorientate you because here Mysterio's all these gases and trying to like confuse Spider-Man. I'll just show this one last one for speech bubbles. Usually they're round, but sometimes if you really want to show action, like here it's saying not like Gwen, you can see it all as a zigzag with the lettering very large there. Narration, just as important as speech bubbles. Narration really lays out the scene, helps the reader understand the context for what is happening here. You can see Spider-Man's got a speech bubble as he's climbing up this building, but also we got 2 sections in narration. I'm going to show this famous one. This is from Amazing Fantasy 15, first appearance of Spider-Man. He just realized that Uncle Ben was killed by a criminal that he could have stopped. And you need this narration here. Reading this, and a lean, silent figure slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware at last that in this world, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Awesome narration, really helps with this telling the story. Artistic style. I mean, you just saw these different Spider-Man pictures, same character but drawn in different ways. I mean, here he's with his costume on, no mask, and I think you could see like very different styles, but still the same character. Um, this plays into what you're thinking for your characters. Are you going more realistic? Are you going more cartoony? Some kind of stylized version of them? Um, you want to draw with what you're comfortable with. We all have different skill levels when it comes to drawing. And so you can tell this story. It doesn't have to look like Illustrator perfect, like people. You're telling the story how you can best draw it. Um, Use your reading materials. I was looking at the different books that you were reading with Mrs. Hartman. And so use those illustrations. Look at what other artists have done. Remember, this is like the late 1700s. People aren't dressed like modern times. I mean, look at these guys are wearing these like shorts with like these super long socks. Women have these like bonnets on and these super long dresses. So flip through those materials that you've learned in class to get inspiration for your characters when you're drawing them. I just took pictures from the different books so you can really get a sense of like these different illustrators and how they're depicting these images. Of course, these are professional level illustrators here. Nobody expects any of us to have ours look as good as these, but we can use them as a reference for like the hats and for the clothes, for the backgrounds. Let's get into the actual comic book here. My advice, I sketch it out. I'm not going for detail yet. I'm just laying out. I'm thinking, well, what part's narration? What part's speech bubble? Am I including some background? What are my people doing here? And I lay out my people as stick people, not going for any detail yet. Once I got that set, well, now I can start adding more. I can start going over my stick people, really working with more shapes, rectangles, ovals for the hands, getting a better sense of how these people are going to look. And then lastly, like erasing the stick figure people, adding in shading, adding in more detail, like buttons on the jacket. Um, you could add color. Color can look really good, but I was just going with just black and white and shading. Um, but that's where you really finalize your work. That's just my advice. Everyone works differently, so it's all good. But this is how I approach making this comic book here. So I wish you the best of luck in your 9 steps leading up to the American Revolution. Um, use the packet of information Mrs. Hartman's sharing with you. Use the materials you've had in class, for inspiration. And I would love to see how these turn out. So I wish you the best of luck. And thank you very much. Good luck.